Yo, yo, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? I am super elated about this moment. I'm also super frustrated by this moment. Um, I'm glad to be here with y'all tonight. I'm trying to get some stuff together, so just bear with me. And yeah, just bear with me. Let me get it together because it's the first time. This is the first time your boy has been live on on um on my Substack. So, and this I want you guys to start following me on Substack because I'm gonna start trying to get more information to us over there through through that channel. Anyway, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? I ain't really got a lot to talk about that's different than what I've always talked about, which is how the establishment Democrats will find a way to ruin a perfect opportunity to take over, both the Senate and probably the House in 2026. And also how Donald Trump continues to make a mockery of the United States Constitution, of the United States norms, the United States principles, and supposedly uh, moral code. Then what I really want to spend most of my time talking about after I do the national stuff. I know normally I talk about local stuff and then talk about national, but today I want to talk about the local stuff. And by local, I mean statewide. I want to talk about North Carolina by itself. And I want to talk about it last because we've seen some dastardly things come from North Carolina as of late. And today, for the first time in 2 years, Senate Bill 257 has been signed by the governor. So North Carolina has a state budget for the first time in 2 years. So I want to get into that, but I want to get into that after I get into the national. So let's do it. For everybody on StreamYard, welcome to the party. If you've been here before, you know what it is. This is Mayor Mundell Robinson talking his talk. This is the best place on the internet. Actually, I'm not even going to be that guy. I'm going to be this guy. This is the best place in the world to get your political update. No holds bars, no holding punches, the truth in a way that you will not get on any mainstream media or from anybody else talking this ish. Straight like that. Straight like that. So let's jump right into it. Y'all president. Y'all president, Mr. Orange Guy. What's up, Duval? I see you out there on YouTube. Be sure to like, subscribe, and let's jack up the algorithm if you're over there on YouTube. But let's talk about it. Y'all president, Mr. Donald Trump, today took off, or I should say last night, took off from the United States of America and flew to Turkey to meet with a strongman and other members of NATO. But how did he fly? Donald Trump became the first United States president to fly on his own gifted Air Force One. Air Force One, the new Air Force One that Donald Trump is flying around in, the one that he just took across the Atlantic Ocean, was not a military jet, was not created specifically for the United States president. It was created and gifted by Qatar, a nation, might I remind you, that the country did not feel comfortable before Donald Trump sharing certain secrets about certain chips because we were afraid that they would share it with China so that China could possibly get a military upper hand on us. That country just gifted your president a jet and he's flying around the world in that jet. So what's wrong with that? To begin with, we have clauses in our Constitution that say that the president cannot enrich himself in this way. That's the first problem. The second problem, the most important problem, is you are not the United States or the president of the United States of Donald Trump. You're not the president of Donald Trump's industries, although you may be, even though you shouldn't be, judging by our laws. You should be the president of the United States, which means if something was to happen to you, it causes harm to every American citizen, business, and also institution. So the fact that we have a president flying around the world on a jet that we don't know what it's capable of. And for anybody to say that, oh no, we stripped the jet down, we checked for bugs, do you really, really believe that this administration is capable of doing anything properly? Do you really believe this administration is capable of finding something if someone wanted to hide it? Mind you, these are the people. This administration is responsible for the death of over 700,000 people in less than a year. And that is not hyperbole. There are studies that show that the dismantling of USAID has killed that many people. Documented. Because they didn't think. They said there are reports that show that people that Donald Trump brought in with Elon Musk, there were people in meetings continually asking, I thought USAID only did abortions. These people dismantled an agency and they believe that the only job of the USAID was to do abortions around the world because they bought into these silly conspiracy theories on the internet. And in doing so, they have killed mostly, I should say, black and brown people, specifically black people in Africa, women and children, by cutting off resources, letting people starve. Food that was already purchased by the American tax dollar went bad in warehouses because they just locked them up. Medicine expired. Warehouses of medicine just expired because they just closed down shops. People left vulnerable because of this administration. And you believe this administration has the wherewithal to go through a jet and find out if Qatari agencies are spying on them. I don't give them that much credit, especially seeing that Pete Hegseth is still employed by the Department of Defense. People, this president in the middle of a war, that he started, a war of his choosing that was not approved by Congress. This president, your president, our president, called somebody about a soccer player, not focused on what's going on with Iran, not thinking of how we're going to rebuild the ammunition for this country that was wasted on a war of his choosing that should not have been fought because Benjamin Netanyahu egged him on and led him astray. Your president, your moralist president, led us here, brought us here to this point where we have spent billions of dollars on a war that made us less safe, that made the world less stable. And then he takes off after he calls about a soccer player and a foul in soccer, a sport I would bet you he knows nothing about, even though he called himself an expert, on a jet that was not purchased by the United States military, that was not purchased by any American entity. Instead, it was a gift from a government that our military personnel didn't even trust enough to share certain secrets with. Do you understand that we would not sell Qatar certain chips because we were afraid they would give those chips to China? Yet we have a president. This is not because I care about the life of Donald Trump. Don't get it twisted. I do not. I do care about the destabilizing of international order. I do care about what happens to America if something goes wrong with that jet, with that man on it. We're going to get to the pay for play, Duvall, because it's definitely that. So my thing is, we are sitting here watching this president make a mockery of what it means to be a government of and by and for the people. And what do I mean by that? Well, it's exactly what Duvall is talking about. This pay for play government, this governor, this president, not governor, this president who put his name on everything only to have us pay to have it removed after we paid to put it up there. the Kennedy Center, trying to build places, tearing down the East Wing. I don't think you all understand how significant it is that this man tore down the East Wing of the White House. We're not talking about Jackie O's Rose Garden, even though that was bad enough when they turned it into a country club, disgustingly patio. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the entire East Wing of the White House being ripped down, only to be built up. I don't know. He may be sundowning, Marcus. Marcus said Donald Trump is sundowning, and he may be. He may be. But the problem is him sundowning will not remove all of this harm that he's already caused these United States and the work that he continues to do. Let me get back to the pay and play. So he tore down this East Wing. Guess what we just found out today? This nasty, disgusting, pay for play president that we have, we can't say it won't be built. It's already getting built. It's already being built. Donald Trump has not stopped anything from happening. There are still cranes on the White House yard right now. And we keep saying what he don't do, but Donald Trump keeps showing us he has the capacity and the will to do whatever he wants. And then he'll just wait for you to react. Donald Trump is already going forward with building the bunker. He has not stopped. There's no construction that has stopped. Those trucks are still moving to and fro on the White House lawn. So we can pretend that it may not be happening, but it's happening. We are watching it happen. There are fences around the White Houses in ways that it has never been. Donald Trump has walled off the White House from the people. He has put soldiers in the streets of the nation's capital. America's capital feels like it is under siege. And now we find out that Donald Trump's sneaky little ass took money to pay for this. He already told you all the first lie about this so-called bunker and also ballroom, that it would not cost the American taxpayers anything. But now we find out that he did a no-bid contract for $500 million to Clark, a company that is already doing a lot of other stuff around the Capitol for Donald Trump. Got a $500 million contract, no bid, because he ran it through the residency, the presidency residency. And any work done under the residency does not and is not subject to FOIA, Freedom of Information requests. Somehow, though, this contract got leaked out. Donald Trump gave this company $500 million of American taxpayers, and some of that money has already been paid because that part of it was to tear down the East Wing. They got paid to destroy the East Wing, already been paid. A no-bid contract of that much is unheard of. $500 million for the private residency of the president is completely different than tearing down the East Wing. That money, that clause was set up to buy curtains, to buy furniture, to change the TVs, or whatever you wanted to do to make that part the part where you live in, Mr. President. Not the East Wing. The part where the president lives is the residence. The East Wing has never been considered a part of the president residency. Now we see how they are doing business. A no-bid contract for somebody who's doing a ton of work for Donald Trump. And people in DC are familiar with Clark Cranes and Clark. We see the name all over. We're not saying that corporation is incompetent. We are, and the we I'm talking about is me. We are saying that it is incompetent to offer $500 million of American taxpayer money to a no-bid contract. We didn't even see if somebody else could do the service for cheaper and for better. Because this is somebody getting rich that is close to Donald Trump. Somebody willing to carry favor for Donald Trump, making money without any questions, hand over fist. Speaking of money, hand over fist, Donald Trump, your president, in less than 2 years off the Trump coin, has figured a way to cause more than 1.9 million investors to lose 90% of their investment in the Trump coin while he has made more than $1 billion off of the same coin. You idiots. You idiots continue to pour in to this man who continues to take not just from the government, not just from the poor people, but from his supporters who they believe are his best interests. He could care less about any of y'all. He's showing you he does not give a damn about what you got going on. Donald Trump just bankrupt or nearly bankrupt 1.9 million of you. All of you people who invested in that coin. I don't know if it bankrupted you, but you lost 90% of what you put into that coin. That means if it was worth $1, it is worth 10 cents now. Not to him, though. He made billions off of y'all idiots. Billions. Donald Trump just suggested a $1.5 trillion budget for the Department of Defense. That is the largest increase in the Department of Defense budget ever. Ever. And guess what that extra money is for? Drones. Guess who just started a drone company? Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump. We are out here playing games, and Donald Trump has turned the government into a cash cow for him and his kids. Him and his kids. Barron is 19 and probably the richest 19-year-old in the world. Or one of them, who has done nothing except for be born Donald Trump's son. And people are starving. Medicine costs more. Brisket, which is a cheap piece of beef, which has become popular because it was a cheap beef that could be made tasty by smoking it, is now $60 a pound in some places. Brisket came about because it was a cheap cut of meat. But under Donald Trump, cows are so scarce because fertilizer was so expensive that cow herds are so thin in this country that brisket is $60 a pound. Donald Trump told y'all something about affordability when he was running for office, and now he's telling you that he never said the word, and y'all are out here clapping for it. Donald Trump told y'all we needed no more foreign wars. We needed to be America first, and he put America last, and y'all are out here clapping for it. Y'all said, don't tread on me. Donald Trump said, I'm going to walk all over you, and you out here clapping for it. Out here clapping for it. It ain't just Clarence Thomas that's cooning for Donald Trump. It's a lot of you that look like me that's cooning for Donald Trump. To be clear. And it ain't just Republicans. It's all of y'all who sit on the internet and play games as if if this both sideism is the moment. This is not the moment for it. There's a complete difference in what we're dealing with right now. Right now, people that we love will die because of this president. And y'all are playing games with people's lives when you pretend that nothing is different. When y'all pretend that nothing is different. And I told y'all keep falling for the grift. Somebody gets mad at Donald Trump because they fall out and y'all go and fall in love with them again. Great example, Michael Cohen, Donald Trump's fixer forever. Soon as he fell out of Donald Trump's grace, soon as he started trashing Donald Trump, and you saw Michael Cohen on MSNBC every damn day, damn near. What is he doing now? He's got a job on a conservative radio station, and he's giving Donald Trump praise all over again. He's talking about how Donald Trump cares about the nation again because he's back in the goodwill of Donald Trump. He has a job. Now he's doing what Donald Trump world does. Kiss up and kiss ass. And we got a Republican Party that has went cold. It is no longer a heartbeat in the Republican Party. John McCain had nothing damn near I agreed on policy. Yet he was an opponent that I wouldn't mind fighting for or against all the time because he had principle. I don't see that in a Republican Party that exists right now. And none of us are better when there's only one party that is functioning in a country that has a two-party system. We are all suffering because of how the Republicans showing up. Mitch McConnell is damn near out of here. We ain't heard or said. We don't even know if he is conscious. The first responder report that responded to his house said they did CPR on a person that was dead. They brought back to life somebody that was not leaving or living. Good evening, Pinker. Welcome to the party. Welcome to the party. I'm going to take a break right now and ask you all, please, if you're watching on Facebook, like, share, and also tag somebody to get over here. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe right now. Like, share, and subscribe, and also follow. If you're on Substack, welcome to the party. This is the mayors. I'm the people's mayor. Got elected in Enfield, North Carolina, but I speak on behalf of all people suffering through what we're suffering through. And right now, let's be clear, y'all. Let's be very clear, because I think it's important that we tell the truth. This thing about Mitch McConnell being in the hospital and we don't know what state he's in, and he's not been seen for almost a month, should be illegal. But that ain't the only thing that should be illegal that we're seeing right now. Where are the roads that stop Donald Trump's tracks? Who are the people, the guardrail outside of his administration, people that he didn't bring to Washington, D.C. with him? Where are the people that say, we're Secret Service, that say, no way we will get on this jet. President, you cannot get on this jet because it is not safe, because we don't know where it came from and we don't know what's on it. Where are the people that are willing to stop what's happening with the Department of Health and Human Services? Where are the people that say that ICE you cannot recruit people who have been convicted, regardless if they've been pardoned, convicted of sedition? You cannot bring in these type of terrorists, and they are terrorists. They try to stop our peaceful exchange of government. You cannot bring those people into a police state. You cannot hire these people to police Americans, because when you do, we see what happened in Minneapolis and it becomes a thing. We watched on TV an ICE agent roll his window down with what they call a less than lethal bullet and shoot someone in the stomach and drive off as if it's a game. What is going on with this so-called experiment y'all call America that's so great? Are we great again yet? Is this your definition of great again? Is great again? I'm asking white people, not all of them, the racist ones, stay where the hell you at. But you well-meaning white folk, you so-called allies, are you willing to sit idle in this moment? I don't want to hear about no kings, because you have a president right now showing more power than any king in this country, in this world right now. Donald Trump has more power than any king in Europe, and he's exerting it. So while you continue to tell me that we are not a place of kings, Donald Trump is acting just as that. There are no rules or roles that Donald Trump are not willing to break to show you that this is his country, that he owns it with a strong fist. He took us to war beyond the days that the Constitution allows. And all the Senate said was, you need to stop. And he still didn't stop bombing Iran. We killed 100 girls in school. And the we I'm talking about is the United States, not we and people that think and see the world like me, because people like us have conscience, and we would definitely not participate. But this country killed 100 girls in school. In school. And it became a headline for one day. And we moved on to the Taylor Swift marriage, to the soccer match, to the next Donald Trump stupidity, to the fireworks. Like 100 mothers and 100 fathers didn't lose their daughters. And if you want to ostracize a people, you want to radicalize a people, kill their daughters at school. You're making permanent enemies out of people. Iran had no nuclear weapon, but Israel does, and we don't know how many. And nobody's asking how many. Israel is running around bombing everywhere, all of their neighbors, and then telling the United States, these people are trying to wipe us off. And I'm not talking about Jewish people in that state. I'm talking about Benjamin Netanyahu's racist government, Benjamin Netanyahu's extremist government, right-wing extremist government. And if you can't say that, then you're missing a piece of humanity. If you think what Benjamin Netanyahu's government is doing in Gaza, Golan Heights, if you think what he's doing in Lebanon, southern Lebanon, or northern Lebanon, southern Lebanon, sorry. If you think that's normal, then you're the problem. You're the reason we find ourselves in this moment. You're the reason these so-called we the people, is shrinking to look more and more whiter. You're the reason Donald Trump feels comfortable taking refugee statuses from real people who need it in Haiti and doing it for white people in South Africa who don't need it, who aren't suffering through anything except for their own exploitation of Black majority in that country. The enriching of rich people, the criminalizing of poor people. You talking about 250 years. You absolutely right. America should celebrate 250 years, but not 250 years of democracy. That we should be talking about America celebrating 250 years of killing, malicious behavior, and exploitation. Seen a white preacher on TV the other day who said this has never been a Christian nation. Because if it was, you could not wipe out 90, 70% of native population. You cannot be a Christian nation and then own people in slavery like this country did. There might have been some Christians, he said, but this ain't been no Christian nation, and it never will be as long as that is its politic. I cannot help but to agree much with that. America is not that country that we thought it was. Donald Trump is sitting back, making rich people richer. Let me give you an example. Y'all saw Microsoft give Donald Trump money towards his inauguration and other stuff. Did y'all hear the word about what Microsoft is doing? How much money they made last year? Microsoft made over $102 billion. $102 billion in profit last year. More than that. They paid their CEO, one person, $98 million for 1 year. And this year, after they made over $100 billion in profit, that's profit, y'all. That's profit. That means the bills has been paid. This is what we keep. Profit. Now they're going to lay off over 2,300 jobs. These people made that much profit and still are laying off people. Not to mention that this government gave them crazy tax credits. Tens of billions of dollars in tax credit that they're not suffering, they're living with, benefiting from. Not only are they laying off, you want to see how spiteful these people are? Not only are they laying off 2,300 jobs, they're also going to raise the price of product. Xboxes are about to go up $150 per unit. You're about to pay $150 more for each Xbox. This is Donald Trump's America. This is back to the time when tycoons could do whatever they wanted to and make and live off of the poor people while they just swallowed in their misery. Elon Musk, $1 trillion company. SpaceX made Elon Musk a trillionaire. SpaceX has one client, the United States government. So you mean to tell me we took NASA with our technology and we let a grifter come in and become a trillionaire off of services that we used to provide? NASA, super successful. 40 or 50 years after flying, NASA took us to the moon. And now we've given it to Elon Musk. Elon Musk ain't create anything. He didn't create the technology that was eBay or PayPal. He pushed people out through acquisitions from money that his dad gave him when he was in Africa from mines, South African mines. Exploitation is in this man's DNA. It's in his genes. He didn't create a single thing. He didn't create Tesla. There were 2 engineers that he forced out and tried to make them sign papers saying that he created it. He created mass death. Elon Musk has killed more people. This is what we need to be telling people. Elon Musk, Donald Trump's protege, has killed more people than anybody ever. 700,000 people are dead because of what Elon Musk did with Doge. And that's what we should be tagging Elon Musk in every day on his platform X. Everybody needs to remind him, you are responsible for more than 700 deaths. There's no coming back for that. In the famous words of an actor in the great hood classic New Jack City, a great man said, your soul is required in hell. Elon Musk's soul is required in hell. That is not a threat to his life. Whenever his life ends, I don't care if it's 350 years from now, Satan will be waiting. You will spend eternity in fucking damnation. You killed 700,000 people as if it's a joke. As you danced around with a chainsaw and your son put boogers on the Resolute desk in the Oval Office. This is America. This is 2026. And what do we have to look forward to? Because right now in this moment, the Democrats should be standing up, chest out, fighting this fight, making sure that people understand what's at stake. But what they're doing, defending somebody with a Nazi tattoo until they can't defend them no more. And when can't they defend them anymore? It's fine for you to be racist. We're still going to support you. But the minute a white woman is hurt, it is time to stand up and do something about it. Planter was a problem from the beginning. It is I absolutely believe that a person that was a Nazi, that is a Nazi, that has a Nazi tattoo on his body, is absolutely capable of raping a woman. I absolutely believe that person is capable of said behavior. I also believe that people can be redeemed. I also believe that there must be consequences for actions, and consequences for white men need to start looking like consequences for everybody else. And if you put a Nazi tattoo on your body, goddammit, you should not be able to be a senator in the United States of America. I said what I said. I said what I said. I said what I said. You put a Nazi tattoo on your body, you should not be. No party that is buoyed, held up, propped up, elected by black people and other minorities should have to suffer from a Nazi being in the same party as we are. Our tent can't be so big that it makes racists feel welcome. I said what I said. There should have never been a place for Planter over here. For him to work and volunteer for people's campaign, maybe. But for his name to be on the ballot for the United States Senate, for him to raise as much money as he did, he raised that much money with nobody really being questioning him about how he felt or what caused him to change from his racist attitudes. We just let it go. We just let it go because he's a veteran. Well, I'm here to tell you, veterans and police officers were overrepresented in the people who stormed the Capitol. So I'm not impressed as a veteran. I'm not impressed by somebody being veterans and that's enough to get you elected. Because let me tell you a secret. Loud and clear. Loud and clear. The United States military is as racist, if not more, than the general population of the United States itself. I promise you that. Been there, seen it. Choked out a staff sergeant because he had a Confederate flag in the back of his truck and touched me. So don't think just because it's a veteran that it gives you the pass. I hear you signed up. I hear you signed up to serve. Okay, that means something. But then how did you serve? And how do you serve? Not just this country. How do you serve all of the constitutional rights? What do we got going on? So now, a week before the deadline, before the ballots, the names are put on the ballots in Maine, now the Democrats got to find another candidate to put on the ballot. This is the same wasting of resources that cost us the last presidential election, switching out Biden for Kamala at the last minute. It is this lack of planning and the only ability to simply react that's causing us these problems. And I don't want to hear a single person tell me that the Republicans put a rapist in the White House. I don't care if he was found liable in a civil suit for rapists. If the Democrats are starting to measure themselves by who and how Donald Trump show up, then to hell with them too. Because that is a horrible, significantly lower bar than anybody's moral compass should ever be set on. Donald Trump is trash with an orange tint. Donald Trump is trash with an orange tint. And if you are measuring yourself by his moral compass, to hell with you. To hell with you. Microsoft. All of these corporations, Donald Trump's friends have taken over CNN. And you see Republicans have permanent seats. You can be as rude as you want to be. You see Scott Jennings cussing out other people on CNN, telling them he'll do something to them, threatening them, and still getting welcomed back. Have you seen Roland Martin back up there? And all he did was call out the lies of one person on the show. MSNBC got rid of the progressive black people on that network like it was nothing. They used to welcome, what's his name? Cohen, Donald Trump's fixer, Michael Cohen, regularly. Now he's back on conservative news. I'm telling you all, pay attention to what's happening. And you can't even call Roland a radical. Roland just a super smart black guy who's got a big ass mouth and a microphone that he owns. That's why they can't shut him up. He owns it. Because if they could, you better know Roland would not have a network, but he owns that network. And y'all, I'm talking about us now. We don't agree with everything he say, or he might not be as progressive as we are. So we don't tune in when it's the only black-owned voice screaming about black issues in a way that makes sense consistently. Regardless if you agree with his tactics or not, you cannot deny the fact that that guy, Roland, cares about black people. And he owns his voice. They can't buy him. That should matter. This purity test, this idea that everybody needs to agree on everything, is going to cause us to continue to have Donald Trump-like people. I'm assuming J.D. Vance, Steve Miller, and Marco Rubio are all lining up to be his replacement. They only exist in a world when we are not coordinated. We should be taking what they mean for evil and using it for our benefit. What do you mean by that, Mundell? Let me explain. A great example. They took the old Tennessee 5th District, Congressional District, when they redrew the maps. The 5th, the 9th, the 9th District in Memphis. Great example. Before they redrew that district, 1 in every 4 voters was a black man. 1 in every 4 voters was a black man. That means over 20%, 25% almost of the electorate was black men. That's powerful. That's collective power. But what did they do? We were in 2 counties, mostly in Memphis and then a little bit in a neighboring county. Now they took those people and spread them out over 15 to 18 counties. They took those brothers. So now the black male vote percentage in that district is less than 10%. That makes that district less viable to a progressive candidate. Harder to win. But you know what else they did? They spread black men over 15 counties. So what does that mean? That gives us the ability to organize 15 counties we otherwise wouldn't have been working in. And maybe we are not ready to win Congress right now, but they didn't count on those brothers that they spread across those counties being activated to win local elections, statewide elections, state office, state chairs, state representatives, state senators. And in there, we get to redraw districts. But ain't nobody thinking about, ain't nobody measuring what that means and what that looks like and what that strategy should be. Everybody's up here talking about a new damn poll or a poster that's going to tell them something that they want to hear. I'm tired of these polls that don't really tell us nothing about nothing. It's a snapshot. The reason they were able to actually redraw the districts at the federal level is because they control the state level. They just took us and spread us across the state in ways that we've never been. Ain't nobody changed their address. You still live where you live. You just now belong to a different district. Let's get busy. Let's get busy. Let's get busy. How do we organize people around elections beyond what's going on at the federal level? I'm not saying we tap out of federal elections. It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying once you control the state, then you can control the federal. What happens when Democrats take over state legislatures across this country, and then we do a mid-year redrawing of districts? What does that look like? Think about the policies, the good policies that could be passed if we elect progressives that see the world in a way that we can do things, even if it's never been done. Like you see Mamdani doing everything that they said he would not do. They said he wouldn't be able to do it. He wouldn't be able to have rent control. He can't control it. He just did it. He won't be able to control the cost of buses and the living expense in New York. He's doing it. He won't be able to raise tax. He did it. And it didn't take him 10 years or 20 years or another study. He just did it. We don't because we don't. We've bought into this idea that the universe we see is the one that exists. All I'm telling you is don't be afraid to look behind the curtain. It ain't no wizard back there. It's a bullshit ass old white man holding a sheet. And there might be a sheet that he used to wear. Tear that shit down. We all need to tear it down. And it's possible. It's possible. Unelect a lot of incumbents and watch how we change the world. Let's make incumbency a flaw more than a hammer. If you are an incumbent, you should have to earn respect of people. You need a long list of shit you've done for people for them to reelect you. It should not be an asset that you are an incumbent. The fact that people know your name should mean that more people should expect more out of you. But we have it flipped up in our head in this country where if somebody's an incumbent, we think that they should be covered, above approach. Hell no. We need to do better. We need to be better. We need to be a better electorate, a more demanding electorate. We need to make incumbents that do nothing unpopular. We need to make a lot of people who spend a lot of money on elections to do and elect people who don't benefit us. We need to make those organizations unpopular. We need to make the money that funded William Bell campaign against Cori Bush unpopular. We need to make his ass unpopular for being a black man willing to challenge somebody who's bringing so much back to the district and doing so much good for poor people in their district and standing up to white power structure in DC in a way that nobody else was. And to be funded by a white organization to run against somebody in the district should be enough to get you ostracized from the community. Community. We need to rethink the definition of community. We need to rethink the definition of community. And it needs to be beyond those who look like us simply because they look like us. Because there's a lot of people that look like us that would do us harm, i.e. Clarence Thomas, Byron Donaldson. And I don't care about Saquon Barkley. I don't care that today or this week he feels a certain way about Trump. He didn't do that when he was playing golf with him. He didn't do that in the heat of the campaign when he showed up and showed his face with him. And I see all of these rappers, y'all might not have heard about this, all of these rappers showing up to Donald Trump's son's club in DC, the executive club, performing, thinking they're doing it behind gates. People see y'all. Busta Rhymes, 50 Cent. We people know that y'all are there. People know. People know. You too are as disgusting when you are willing to be a part of a culture that is 100% rebellious. 100% rebellious. Hip hop, rap is born out of rebellion. And for you all to show up for Donald Trump in that way, for his son in that way, thinking you're going to sneak into DC, a space where it's a significant black population who don't even have proper representation, and you're over there performing for these people? Y'all are crazy. Y'all are beyond crazy. Y'all are beyond crazy. But we see y'all. We need a new definition of community, and it needs to be closely linked to Bacon, Nathaniel Bacon's idea or his rebellion that took place in 1767 or 1677. 1677. I would charge everybody to go do a little research on Bacon rebellion. It'll blow your mind. Because before that point, there was no black and white people in the world. Nobody was referred to as black or white before that point. But when poor white people and poor black people, indentured servitudes and slaves alike, got together and said we are tired of being exploited by rich elites, they came up with this system to give white people poor white people, a few little rights that they didn't give black people. And that was enough to create this gap, this nastiness that we know as what racism and white supremacy. in American slavery. We need to do better on the national level, y'all. But speaking on the national level and politics in general, I think I would be a young boy who grew up in North Carolina, a victim of North Carolina politics. North Carolina politics. I think it's important that I tell y'all what happened today in North Carolina. For the first time in 2 years, the state of North Carolina, the state of North Carolina actually passed a budget. Senate Bill 257 has passed and been signed by the governor, giving the citizens of North Carolina a budget. And I don't want us to uh, get too crazy in thinking that we've won the world because we finally have a budget. Because this budget has some problems in it, more problems than solutions. So let me start out by naming some of the good stuff that's in the bill, because I don't need to lie to you all. I would be them if I told you a lie. There are some good things in there. However, those good things are not good enough, right? But the first thing is we got $700 million for recovery for Hurricane Helene. You know, the western part of our state was devastated by a hurricane a few years ago, and in the budget there's $700 million for that recovery effort that will be going to those counties that suffered the most. And I think that is important because there are poor people, there are people out there that are still suffering, that are still unhoused and need to be made whole. And I think this is a good thing. That is a good thing. I also think it's a good thing that finally our state ended tax exemption. Did you hear what I just said? The electric bill for data centers in North Carolina was tax exempt. They ended that. This budget ends that. Finally, that is gone. That means these billion-dollar corporations, i.e., Google has a data center in North Carolina, Apple, no longer can they charge their electric bill, which we know is crazy because they are large users, super users. No longer can they use that as a tax break. And it's not like they're employing a bunch of people in our state. What they're doing is being extractive. So I'm super excited about that. I was happy when I heard about that. I saw that in the bill. Now it's law. It's no longer a bill. It's been signed by the governor. Um, teachers Teachers got a raise from $41,000 start out to $45,000. I'm not celebrating 45,000. I think teachers should be paid in the top 10 percentile of all pay in the country. I think it should be a law that we pay our teachers like we pay our doctors, because our teachers make our doctors. Our teachers make our everything. And I feel like if we want our kids to be the best and the brightest and to compete in the world, then we need to pay the best and the brightest to come educate them. But that's a whole nother conversation. However, teachers did see a little increase, a little bump in their pay. Um, Also, we did see additional funding going to SNAP, which will allow for SNAP to continue and survive, even though we know there are federal cuts coming down or already enacted. SNAP will still be there. So people, it's not enough. We know it's not enough. We know SNAP benefits. People are averaging less than 3 digits a month to try to feed themselves with SNAP benefits, but at least the program does survive in spite of the federal cuts. So that's a good thing. Also, 3 million North Carolinians can rest easy tonight because Medicaid was fully funded. Medicaid was fully funded. Shout out to all the Democrats who fought for that, and fought to have that and make that happen. That's a good thing. Uh, I think I'm a firm believer that everybody in this country should have free health care. I've been to nations that are a lot poorer than America that has free health care. Actually, if we consider ourselves the richest nation in the world, every nation that provides free health care is poorer than us, according to us. So there's that tragic fact. But 3 million North Carolinians will continue to have their Medicaid completely paid for, and that's a good thing. Unfortunately, y'all, out of this massive bill that is our budget, that's all I got. That's good. And I want to shout out our state senator. She's not my direct senator, but I still call her my senator. Natalie Smith, who's doing the Lord's work. That sister is busting her ass to show up for her. If you live in that sister's district, you should make sure that you are following and supporting her because she's a champion of the people. She's doing what she should be doing. She's doing the Lord's work, and she put out the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I'm just doing some pieces of it. So shout out to that sister for doing her work in the state senate, and also making sure that she's sharing with the people what's going on under the roof of the people's house in Raleigh for those who can't make it there and be there because they're trying to survive. So shout out to that sister. Yo, guess what else is in the budget? These Republicans cut 1,000 state employee jobs. 1,000 jobs. We know in North Carolina, the average family household is probably about 2.3 people. So that means this is not going to impact 1,000 people. It's going to impact a lot more people. 1,000 jobs have just been cut from the state government. Beyond the fact that we lost that many jobs, think about how hard it is already to get service by our state government. That service, those services just became that much more complicated. This is why I said we shouldn't celebrate. So while Medicaid may be paid for, it probably is going to be a little bit more complicated to try to navigate that because they let so many people go. 1,000 jobs have been cut in this budget. That means it's going to be harder for people to get the services that this government, our state government, is supposed to deliver them. This is our reality, y'all. North Carolina Central University, a historical Black college that is under the UNC school system, had a request, a critical request for dorms. It was left unheard. Nothing for them. Nothing. Nothing for them. Nothing for them. And that little raise I told you about, well, I told you it's good that teachers got a little bit. I told you it was not enough. That $4,000 does not keep up with inflation, which means teachers are not really getting a raise if you account for inflation. They are not making what they should be making. Teachers are educators. And in North Carolina and in most states, probably all states, before most of these public school teachers begin to teach, they are also counselors. They are also cafeteria workers trying to feed some of these kids. They are dealing with so many other things before they're able to educate these students. And we do nothing. We do nothing in the way of servicing them when we are afraid or we make choices not to pay them what they deserve. It is absolutely dastardly to not pay teachers a livable wage, a lucrative livable wage. I am who I am because of a teacher, a couple teachers to be exact. Teacher saves lives, man. Teachers are interrupters that we need. Because regardless of what's going on at home, a teacher that is aware or tuned into her students or his students or their students can pay attention and save a kid's life. I watched it happen. I am one of those kids. It is disgusting that these people sit comfortable in Raleigh and will not pay school teachers. It's as if they are comfortable saying, we don't need an educated populace. We need them as dumb as they are coming. And while they did not give teachers money to match what inflation is, the rate of inflation is not even really a raise. That's just saying we're going to keep your money where it's supposed to be. Because if inflation is higher than your raise, that means you're literally making less. Duval, I'm glad you caught it too, brother. I'm disgusted by the fact that guess what they left in this bill, in this budget. They found a way to make sure that we kept corporate Large, major corporations still got tax cuts. Still got tax cuts. They made a way to ensure that major corporations keep their tax cuts, but they did not pay teachers. And guess what else? To make it worse, not only did they not pay teachers, public education is still not fully funded in the state of North Carolina. So we're out here bragging to the world that we are number one in business. But our budget shows you we don't give a damn about our people. We care more about profit than we do people. This is why you would give a tax break on the electric bill for data centers, but not a tax break on the electric bill for people's residents when people are suffering through this experiment. I just told you, and people trying to tell me, oh, tax breaks for corporations create business. How can you tell me tax breaks for corporations create business when I just told you Microsoft made $106 billion and got over $10 billion over tax breaks, and they're still laying off 2,300 people? No, tax break for corporations make them richer, and they don't share that money with the people that make the services and products that make them rich. In real life, in real life, in real life, we are in a state with 100 counties, and we are still underfunding our schools, damn near all of those. What does that say to our students? And don't tell me it's not intentional, because if you look at the funding for pre-K, it stayed flat. They didn't even give pre-K a raise to match inflation, which means that wait list that was at pre-K just got that much ridiculously longer. Pre-K wait list will be expanded by this stupid ass funding that remained the same from 2 years ago. If kids aren't in pre-K, if kids are waitlisted, we are setting those kids back, not just for 1 year, but forever. We are setting these kids back by not funding them, but we got money to give tax breaks to corporations and tax breaks to large corporations who own data centers. Who owns data centers for their electric bill? At one point, Apple had trillions of dollars on hand. The federal government don't have $1 trillion on hand. Why are we giving them a tax break? Why would we be giving Apple a tax break at the expense of our pre-Ks? Why are we making 4-year-old North Carolinians whose parents pay taxes, whose family members pay taxes, why are we telling them, no, you can't go to preschool? You just sit and wait. And oh, by the way, this is probably going to set you back for the rest of your learning life, but we are okay with that. How in the hell is that our reality? How is that our reality? It's our reality when we make incumbents comfortable. When people that are in office can continue the way that they continue, and we have no ramifications, or they have no ramifications for doing the shit that they do and get away with. That is horrible work, guys. We need to own that. It gets worse. This bill gets worse. Veteran teachers receive a much smaller raise than new teachers. And we know it's been 2 years since we had a budget, which means teachers haven't had a raise in 2 years. No teachers will get retroactive pay. Not a single one, new or veteran. So now we're telling people it don't matter if you've been here, if you stuck through this system where we pay you less than what you should be paid, when we know our neighbors to the north, Virginia, will pay you a lot more to come up there. So now we're telling you, oh, those 2 years where we was practicing shenanigans and not passing a budget because of politics, we're not going to compensate you for that. You're just going to deal with it. We have our teachers operating as a deficit. And then to do this to our veteran teachers, to tell our veteran teachers, oh, yeah, you're already here. So it is what it is. We're not going to give you a raise, or it's not going to be significant, or it's not going to be higher than what we bring in new people. That means the state lacks loyalty to those people who stuck around and stick in a system that is failing them, on top of the fact that we're not funding public education. And you want to know why we have some schools in our district in Halifax County where students are learning science, upper level science, without a teacher. They're using a computer to teach them because there's no teacher there. Because there's no teacher there. And Audrey, you're right. You do have to go where you appreciate it. But beyond that, you also have to go where you can make a living and pay for your life. So you can pay for your kids. So you can pay for what you need to exist whole. So you're not broken. And I think people don't consider that. Teachers aren't out here trying to get rich, but they do deserve, they went to school and they also dedicated their time and commitment. They also have to create curriculum and do stuff and reach students and be in those classrooms, even when students aren't in those classrooms. That's disgusting to me that we are not only not funding teachers, not funding school, but we're giving money to corporations that are making money hand over foot, trying to recruit them to do what? I get it. Data centers don't need many employees beyond the construction of it. And construction workers don't, and this is no knock on construction workers, they don't need extra education. They have skills that can be taught on the job. So basically, you all talking about these elites in Raleigh, you are telling us what you want from our people. We want our kids good enough, strong enough to go work at a site, but not strong enough and good enough to run them. Copy, copy, copy. That ain't all, y'all. This is why I wanted to have this conversation, because all of these people talking about this is not anti-black behavior, this is just bad policy. These Republicans in the state of North Carolina, mind you, they redrew the only black district, the first district, early on in the year. Not to mention, they had a white county, Franklin County, trying to take the water rights to 3 majority black counties, Halifax County, in the town of Enfield, where our mayor is, Vance County, and also Warren County. They were going to give this white county the rights to our water. Now, these Republicans in this bill eliminated so many programs and jobs, all of them DEI related. What does that mean? Tomorrow, there will be a lot of black people unemployed that had comfortable careers. There will be a lot of people that were getting services that will be unemployed tomorrow. Black people that went to work like they always do. These people passed a bill and now these people are without job. These people did everything you told them to do. Everything this government told them to do. Work hard, graduate, go to college, get a job, and be consistent. And now they're not about to be, they are. DHHS, DOA, DOT, K through 12 education, community colleges, every DEI program or anything that is associated with it, department is gone. It's gone. Every job associated with it has been eliminated. 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 Today, because the signing of a bill, black unemployment rate just went up. in North Carolina? How do you sign a budget and black unemployment rate go up? Oh, it don't stop there. They also eliminated the department that serve underserved contractors, communities. So people who don't normally get contractors, basically black people, that department was eliminated. Emails were sent out from employees of that department telling all of their contacts yesterday or today. Are we past midnight now? Yesterday, because we're past midnight, was their last day. Thank you for the relationships and the work that we've done together for the past 25 plus years. When I saw the email today that came from my contact at the state government, I damn near cried. Because how? Because how? How can we say we care about equity or equal rights for everybody, and we are targeting black people in this way so out loud? Black contractors who are already getting less contracts compared to their percentage of the population will suffer more because of this. They eliminated every equity position, office, and program in the DHS, DOA, DOT, K through 12, and community college system. And they killed the underserved business department. It's gone in North Carolina. A former Confederate state. The state that is the home of the only coup in this country. Successful coup took place in Wilmington, where a white mob overthrew a duly elected biracial or mixed race government during Reconstruction. They killed black people. They took their land. They took their businesses. They took their resources, and they ran them out of town. Wilmington, North Carolina. They call it a race riot. That is not a race riot. That is white terrorists attacking black electeds. The federal government didn't get involved. The state government didn't get involved. It just happened. And again, with the signing of a budget in 2026, the unemployment rate just went up in black community in North Carolina because that budget killed black jobs. So when I say black people die 1,000 deaths, this is one of them. This is one of them. These people didn't stop there. They restricted any grants to legal aids or any organizations that are providing legal aid from doing anything, any advocacy work around immigration services or any issue like that. This is the party that calls itself the party of Jesus Christ, the Christian party, Christian principles. They are telling people to die. Come to North Carolina if you are black and brown to die. Elon Musk, white South Afrikaners that are coming to America have more rights than black North Carolinians under this Republican control legislature. They are. That again in MAGA should be synonymous with Jim Crow. That again in MAGA should be synonymous with poll tax. That again in MAGA should be synonymous with everything restrictive in America's past based on race. And if they have it their way, that again in MAGA will mean slavery. I'm Mondell Robinson. It's been a long Tuesday. What are you doing to stop Republican takeover? Peace.